just wanna wait till we're on here. Who's back there?
Brittany.
There we go.
Okay, open the meeting at 6:31. This meeting, as always, is being broadcast live and digitally recorded. Just want everyone to make sure they know that. So, open session. Anyone here for open session?
I
Ed?
am regarding Comet Pond, the swimming area, but if that's gonna be part of the town administrator's report, I'll wait and hold my comments till then.
It
It
is.
is.
All right, I'll wait and hold my comments
Okay,
till then.
thanks. We should be moving along pretty good here tonight. Anyone else here for open session?
Yeah,
Come on up.
you know why I'm here for.
Yep. So you're looking for an update?
Yep,
Okay, we have an update.
Okay, so Jamie had asked if we can have the prior arrangement reinstated, and according to town council, you can. Obviously, the town council is saying you shouldn't be bullied into it. It can be returned, however, the interest has to go to the estate of the owner.
that's correct.
So it would be the Cataisto Living Trust.
That's correct.
So it's just up to you.
That's what I'm asking for.
So, right now it's null and void, it's up to you guys if you wanna reinstate it.
You know, we've been paying taxes in this town for 100 years.
I've got no interest in fighting this.
No.
So, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up. You looked into the process. I don't feel bullied. This is not a lot of money. I don't mean it like that. I'm still saying, I think it's absolutely appropriate for us to do this. I don't know what you guys think. I mean, we're gonna take a vote and vote how we want, but that's my thought.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the interest being paid to the Cataisto
Trust.
Trust.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Yes.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Unanimous. Thanks.
Okay, then did you wanna skip? We can do the Economic Development Committee charge, or we can wait for Michael for that and just go to license approvals.
Okay.
So the first one is the Pizza Palace is doing a Merch Family fundraiser. I don't know if you've heard of it. And they wanna have a band that night. So this is just an entertainment license just for that night. And so I need a motion to approve that and then a chairman's signature.
Question on that,
Sure.
when they first took over the Peach Palace, they came before us and got that kind of a license so they could have music and entertainment. Is that no longer in effect?
They didn't renew it.
Oh, they didn't renew it,
They do
okay,
have one
alright.
for the claw game,
Mhm.
but they don't have one for a
Alright, so-
band.
No, I was just curious.
They have a what for the claw game?
They have a license for the claw game. You have to
Mm.
have it. It's like an amusement
Oh.
machine.
I was just curious if it was
So
still
this
in
is just
effect.
for
Okay.
one night,
Yeah.
Okay.
and so I just need a motion and a signature.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
make a motion to approve the license. Was it for a band?
Yes,
One
music.
night
I'll second it.
at the Pizza Palace?
Discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 And then the next license that needs to be approved is the Hubbardson Rod and Gun Club is getting a new manager, and so they need, their forms updated as well. And so this wouldn't acquire all signatures on the
The
bottom
gentlemen
here.
from the road, they're here also, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this would just be approving the license for the new manager, and then we'll send it off to the licensing bureau.
So you want a motion to just to
Yes.
approve the license?
Approve the license, and then I need everyone to sign it.
I move that, we approve the, license for the new management of Rod and Gun Club.
I'll second that.
Any changes to a previous agreement? It's all the same?
Just the name of the manager.
Okay. All in favor?
Yes.
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 Yes, if you wanna
Welcome.
pass that around.
Oh, sorry. You can start over there.
And then contracts, this is Red Hawk, this is for that phase 2 fire panel at the Center
Hey.
School.
what's up?
Front page on this. So I just need a motion to approve that. And then this is just chairman's signature.
The contract?
Yes.
Move to approve the contract for the Red Hawk Fire and Security
Hold on.
fire panel.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so just chairman's signature
Steve,
and date right here.
Just got a question, are we all set with to sign anything, or are we all set?
I believe you're all set, correct? That's what Jeanette, for the license,
Mhm.
for Hubbardson Rod and Gun.
We didn't sign it.
It's four.
It's four.
Need five.
So what we'll do is
Michael
we'll
wasn't
send
here.
everything in with the
I
check,
can sign it.
and then you should get a copy.
That was my only question. If you
Yeah,
can.
we will.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank
you're all
you.
set,
Thank
thank
you
you.
You can stay if you want.
Hello, Mr. Singer.
And then the next one is, this is just an updated listing of the Montechusett Region Natural Hazard Mitigation Update. They didn't really make any changes, but they do need a signature that you're all adopting this. And so I would just need a motion that you're accepting the Montechusett Region National Hazard Mitigation Plan update.
Make a motion to accept the updated natural hazard mitigation plan?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. It's just
Okay.
me?
That's just you?
Believe it or not, I don't know why, I was just looking over the old natural hazard mitigation plan. I found it in a pile in the garage.
Hey, I got some stuff you could build at my house if you're looking for.
Yeah, something to do?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we can just jump back up to.
Yeah, so we skipped reorganization, we skipped economic development committee, just to sort of get through a few items.
So if you wanna go back to reorganization?
Yeah.
The board?
Yep. All right, well, it's a new year.
Alright, so,
Sort of up to us what we want to do. Anyone have any thoughts or want to make any nominations?
I nominate Dan to do another year of chairman.
Yeah.
I second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Abstain? But I will accept. Thank you.
And vice chair.
Nominate Mike.
No second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, abstain.
And clerk?
Jeff. Nominate Jeff.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Okay. Alright, so Economic Development Committee charge and makeup, I had sent this to you, last week. So basically, it just outlines the duties of the committee. And then as well as there's 3 committee members already listed. You need 2 more members and then a Board of Selectmen member and a Planning Board member if you choose that makeup. This is basically based on several other towns' committees. So they basically all read the same way, and I took the charge and the duties from the prior ad hoc committee, what their findings were, and so I made that the duties.
I think the makeup looks good to me.
Yeah.
Can I ask what the purpose of the economic development will be?
It is to improve the community's quality of life through expanded local business base, is the official.
Because we spent, I don't know how much the grant was for economic development, perhaps about 4 or 5 years ago.
The
Brandon?
last thing I could find was from 1995.
No, that's probably about right. In my memory. Time goes by so quickly, but, I mean, we spent a lot of money on that, and, nothing became of that. We had a business association for 4 or 5 years, and, it finally got to the point where it just didn't make sense to continue that anymore, because even we had, believe it or not, we had like, when you count all the home businesses and that, there were like 200 possible businesses in town. Of registered businesses is a lot less, but still, there wasn't a lot of interest with the business people in terms of representing themselves as a group, or, we put on programs, and, it was fairly well run, and in
Yeah,
the
a
end-
booklet too. I think there was a book. I remember when we moved to town, there was a book with
Dave oversaw
information
that,
about the town
right?
and everything.
Yeah, I think we
Dave.
had all the businesses listed, so
Yeah.
people
Right.
could shop locally and things like that, but in the end, it was basically 5 or 6 people, like most organizations, running the organization, and finally we said, why are we doing this anymore? I don't know what the goal of the economic development will be. We're limited because of our zoning, and we don't have a lot of, and maybe master plan, but we don't have a lot of possibilities for economic development in terms of business.
It's true, we do have a very interesting possibility that's gonna be on the table soon from, I don't know how much you're aware of what the proposal might be for New England Specialty Soils to, they make golf course and infield mixes and that sort of thing. They came to us recently and had been to, not to us, but the planning board recently, and have some real good ideas that would involve some changes in zoning and all that. But I think it's an excellent opportunity that would bring new business into town and maybe reinvigorating a economic development committee sort of at the same time as that makes sense.
This, and also we have a 5-year financial forecast going on, as well as we have a grant to study our zoning and infrastructure, and so there could be changes to the zoning if they decide to do that.
So there's real no cost to the town
No.
in doing this, it's just
Correct.
looking to the future.
That's right.
Thank you.
We realize the challenges too.
Yeah, part of the what Dan was saying, just to expand a little bit, was when they came in, part of their plan was to have, was it 12 possible pad sites for businesses, to have a small warehouse, you know, an electrician needs a place to keep his materials and everything, so there'd be possibly up to 12 or so pad sites that can be built, so it'd be nice to have a committee that can maybe help get some interest in getting those built and getting those occupied.
Well, even the commercial land that we have is not well utilized, so maybe that would be good for that too.
Yep.
Thank
So
you.
if you all wanna make a motion, if there's no changes needed,
I'll make a motion to approve the Economic Development Committee as presented.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 Edge, any interest in being one of the other extra 2 members of the Economic Development Commission?
No, I was graciously asked, but, you know, I'm only here for,
6 months or so.
yeah, 7 months of the year, and also, I guess, maybe burnt myself out on the HBA, and, you know, like to see it happen
Yep.
and get some, you know, good business in town. But,
Yeah,
I'm
sounds
not
good.
any interest in the committee, but thanks.
Yeah, sounds like a great opportunity what they're proposing.
Yeah.
you all will need to choose one select board member to be on that at some point.
Yep.
Okay, so this is from the Massachusetts Office of Disability. They want to put forth to see if you're interested in making a commission on disability. This would be to just study, it would be to provide research, information, advocacy, and assistance to individuals, businesses, and organizations in disability-related matters. The only stipulation is a lot of times they use for funding handicap parking fines, and we have 2 spots that are handicapped out here, and then I think there's maybe 2 at the park.
Can't
We don't
imagine
have
there's a lot of
fines.
fines.
Right, so I don't know how it would be funded, you can certainly present it. I don't know if you would have anybody that would be active for it. They also studied the buildings to make sure we're up to code, and
We know we're not.
I know. So I'm not quite sure if this is the right time for this.
I don't think we're ready for this yet.
Yeah, I don't think so either, so I just needed to present it to
Okay.
you. Okay. Appointments and wage authorizations. The first wage authorization we have is Jeremy Gasella. He's a full-time firefighter now. And so I just need a motion to approve him retroactive to July 5th.
Is he taking over Marty's spot?
He is.
Alright, so I'll make a motion to approve, no, this is a waiver,
Waive.
make a motion to waive the notification period, retroactive to July 5th.
Yes.
For Jeremy Gasol.
Second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
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 And then there were 2 appointments that were left off the listing that we went over on June 27th. Scott Chatney for the building committee, and then Dennis Parent and myself as the sexual harassment officers. So if you want to approve those
I think that should be
3.
Chet Tigney.
Yes, it
This
is,
is
Chet
the-
Tigney.
T-I-G-N-Y.
Yes.
So
Or you are.
I'll make a motion to appoint Scott Chatigney to the building committee.
And then Dennis Parent and I.
Oh, and Dennis Perrin and Ray Ann Siegel for sexual harassment officers.
Second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And then next would be committee updates.
You first.
I got nothing from 250.
Okay, this is a slow time of year. Building committee, Really don't have much either. We have a meeting, I think, this Friday that we're gonna be, been given some recent updates. There's gonna be some more activity out there now that, there has been more activity out there. There's a bulldozer there now too. There's, they're gonna be building the access road that gets out to the well shortly. We have a sort of a basic schedule update from our owner's project manager, who hasn't gotten the best response from the contractor who, you know, sort of our fault, had to tell him to go away. So it's, you know, as much as we wanna get back here, there's only so much you can do when you've told somebody to wait for a month and a half. So anyway, that's still moving along. I don't think there's, you know, I don't know if you have anything to add there, Ryan.
We have the MOU that we just.
All right, we have a
discussed.
memorandum of understanding as well from the DCR.
Yes.
Related to the easement, or it's not really an easement, but related to the well being within the Zone 1 area and of air, some of the stuff that we don't own. So, task force, I got nothing. We haven't met in a while, and that went away at the end of June because of graduations and stuff, and the end of school. Do you have an update?
No, I don't.
Collins Center, nothing?
Might be August 11th is the
Okay.
next date. I'm not sure, it's tentative.
Okay. And the Town Center Committee, we have contacted the 2 WPI students, as well as their counselor or whatever, advisor, and over the summer, and we're gonna have like a third Thursday in July meeting, just our committee, and then instead of the third Thursday in August, it's gonna be the fourth Thursday in August. I think I copied you on some of this
Yep.
stuff, because they're gonna be back to school and they're gonna come to our meeting. So they're gonna, and at that point, we're gonna write the scope for the schematic design RFP, which Rand's already put together the framework for that. So once we get the terminology, we'll be able to just insert it in there, get it out in the central register, and be able to utilize their services pretty quickly. So that's the plan.
Okay, Town Administrator report. Worcester Road project, according to Tim Kilhart, DPW Director, the 3.7 million Worcester Road Mass DOT project is on for FY17.
That's awesome.
I know. This will encompass from Elm Street to the Rutland Town line. In addition, Tim is working with the state to have bridge work on 62. Right now, there's a bridge on 62 that they deem a culvert.
Yeah.
Tim's gonna get that deemed a bridge, and then he can put in for grants to have it removed, so, prepared.
And we got it, I'm sorry if it's in here, but we got a recent roads update.
We did. They had to cancel, one canceled for today, but they'll be out tomorrow.
There's like a lot of work happening in the next.
It's all this week. In fact, we
Crazy.
had a bit of an
And
issue
starting
with
next week.
details.
Oh,
We needed 7, and it's tight because Westminster's doing work, Barry's doing work, Templeton is, and so we might have a little bit of a delay because you can't use flaggers if it's not road work. If the road work is done by machinery that's not able to travel by its own, then you have to have a police officer there.
okay.
Something new I learned today. So anyway, Comet Pond, there are many issues with this, Ed is aware. So initially there weren't going to be any lifeguards at Comet Pond this summer. Then they were able to provide lifeguards, but they couldn't do it on Thursdays and Fridays. They were very short-staffed. So there was a Thursday, a couple weeks ago, where there were about 60 cars parked on 68, and it's causing a nightmare because there's kids getting in and out of cars, and it's just causing a traffic jam. So far, I don't know if you've seen this past week, Thursday and Friday, it should have been open, although it was raining. I went by there on Friday, the gate was closed, but it was raining, and I think that's why. So according to DCR, it should be okay going forward. However, I think for next summer, there really should be a plan in place where we kind of take part of it back to where we can hire the own lifeguards, we can do swim lessons again, we can maybe even charge for out-of-town people to come and use it, but they still have the liability if anything happens there. So over the winter time, Sand is going to be working up a plan for that to take place. There's really nothing we can do for this summer, though.
But what we can do is call them every
I call
Monday
them
or something?
every time, every week to make sure they're gonna have somebody there Thursday and Friday, and then I call Wednesday afternoon, are you definitely gonna have somebody there Thursday, Friday? This week seemed to be okay so far.
Now they can't open it even if there's no lifeguards? They
Even
can-
if there's one lifeguard there, they won't open the gate, cause there has to be 2 lifeguards on duty. So I think there was a Thursday or Friday that you had mentioned to me that there was 1 lifeguard on, but they still had the gate locked. So there's always has to be at least 2
And
lifeguards
they can't
there.
put up a sign that says no lifeguard on duty or anything.
And they won't open the gate. So, and I don't think we
But they're
even
not
have
turning
key.
people away. People can
No,
walk
no,
up there.
you can go up there and say just at your own risk, but they won't open the gate.
Yeah, I think they wouldn't be able to open the gate.
Well, that creates a huge public safety risk
Yeah.
down on 68.
It was a nightmare. Scott went down there and saw it. It was just, there were people getting in and out of cars. They were blocking. They were kind of halfway in the road. And
So,
So-
just so I understand, moving forward, as you call to sort of find out about Thursdays and Fridays,
Mhm.
what will they provide?
They
on
will
those,
provide lifeguards.
and an open gate.
And an open gate, as long as, he said the only 2 days that are really hectic for him are Thursdays and Fridays. Every other day he's fully staffed, there's not an issue. And so I said, we're having a traffic issue because you're not opening up that gate. So he said, every week he says, I'm gonna try to get somebody there. 2 weeks ago, right before the July 4th weekend was the worst.
Yeah.
And so I haven't heard any people, because the people are calling and complaining to us on a daily basis until it got situated with the more and more lifeguards. So I haven't heard anything since then. I don't know if you've seen anything, because you had also called me about it.
Yeah, I just, you know, because I live down there, I travel and live on Common Pond, and travel back and forth, and part of the problem is, you know, if you only had parking on one side, it wouldn't be as bad as having parking on both sides, because when you got parking on both sides, which they were doing, now you've got 2 lanes with traffic going 50 miles or more an hour, and you got moms taking out floats and chairs and kids, and you know, my biggest worry was that, you know, someone would get hit. And I don't know, I would say that the town has responsibility certainly for 68 and the parking on 68. I don't know whether you'd wanna check with the chief, or whether it would make sense to only allow parking on one side. If they park across the street, then they gotta walk across the street to get there. But obviously, the best situation is to, you know, have the gate open. There's a huge parking area up there, and handle a lot of cars. I don't know what other alternatives there could be. There could be put a gate further up, so that they could park on the road going in.
Yeah, but then it's like, how do you leave?
But
Unless you're out
Yeah.
leaving,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
they're gonna go into the beach anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
I
know,
think limiting the parking to
One
maybe
side of the road?
the gate side would make sense.
Okay, I can talk to
it
them.
makes them walk longer up the other side.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we've been going at this for a long, long time, and it's I think it was just the circumstances that we ran into this situation, so, you know, I don't think we have to do backflips
No,
to
and I think-
solve it, but
Why did the town, I mean, this is before my time
Yeah.
doing this, why did the town give up Comet Pond back to the DCR? Because at one time it was town.
It was town owned, and the history of it is a bit hilarious, but we had sole possession of the beach, and it was still run with lifeguards from DCR, because all 3 of my kids lifeguarded there. But then someone from Princeton, I think it was, went back in and looked at the documents of how we got control of the beach, and found out that the documents hadn't been signed by the selectmen. So therefore, they reopened the idea that this is a state facility and it's state water, that it shouldn't be solely for the purpose of the town of Hubbardston. And Princeton people used to swim there, and Barry people used to swim there. So then they went with a permit system, and I don't know what happened to the permit system, but the permit system used to be, if you were from town, you could get a season permit. And I might not be perfect on this, but I think if you were from town, you could get a season permit, and if you were out of town, you could get day permits that would allow you to go to the beach on a certain day.
Yeah, you used to get a placard to put in your window
I
of your
remember.
car.
You know, we see, coincidentally on Saturday, we had a Common Pond Association meeting where we have 30 members and very active. So this did come up, as well as swimming throughout Common Pond, because a lot of people come and practice for triathlons or whatever, and swim up, you know, it's about a mile long and a mile back, so they go up and practice with that. Most all of them wear a little orange bubble that they swim with, so that makes a lot of sense, because if you're out there with a boat, it's very tough to see someone who doesn't have that bubble or a cap that's a bright color. And, you know, the association's greatest fear is that someday we'll have an accident because of people swimming down the middle of the pond. But getting back to the permits, as we see more and more frequency of people coming, maybe a permit process that was established way back when should be looked at again, so that we can at least control the number of people, because if you only have 1 or 2 lifeguards and you don't have any permit system or can control the numbers, I mean, you could have 150 people there with 2 lifeguards.
Right.
So you might wanna take a peek at that again. As far as the town, going back and maybe assuming ownership of it, there's a lot of things that come to mind. One is the liability. It is not easy, as DCR has found out, to hire qualified lifeguards, and that would fall upon the town to be responsible for that. I don't think you'd ever be able to charge enough for permits or going to the beach to make it a self-funding operation. I don't know what they're paying lifeguards now, but.
I don't know, but when I talked to Santa Barry about it, she said when she used to offer swim lessons, she had enough to pay her lifeguards.
Yeah, well, they used to have swimming lessons, and it was really great.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great thing for the town, and, you know, the more kids we can teach to swim and stay off the electronics, the better off they are. But that could be instituted, or we could still do the lessons, I think, locally, and under the guidelines of DCR.
We could. She stopped them because she was having so many problems with the lifeguards. They were constantly making them get out of the water, or they would say, "Oh, we're going on break. You can't have your lessons now." So it was very hard to coordinate this. So she just said to forget it.
Yeah, and I don't really know whether if you're in a situation like that, the lifeguards have to have Tory checks and things like that. And, you know, I really think that it would be a nightmare for the town to think about, you know, taking over ownership. First of all, I don't think you could take over ownership to the point where it would disallow other towns from coming in. I don't think that you'd be able to do that.
No, you could do something similar
Unless
to.
DCR was willing to deed over to the town the actual land.
You could just do something similar like with Dunn Park, where there's a fee to park. But I
Yeah.
think Dunn charges everybody.
Yeah. You know, you'd be getting into another whole operation, and you gotta, I don't even know who now would handle permits here if you went to a permitting situation.
It's all things to look into.
Hmm?
It's all things to look into.
Yeah, I mean, that could be, I don't know whether that's a town clerk type of thing, or,
I think it was town clerk we got him the last time.
I think so too. So, I guess moving forward, as far as actual action, you're gonna talk to Chief about.
Yeah, I'll talk
his
to him
thoughts.
about limiting the parking on the pond side.
If you're willing to walk all the way up that hill, I think you're willing to walk a little bit further from
Yeah.
one side of
Yeah.
the street, you know? So,
Okay, I'll check on it.
Do the police have any involvement in policing? I don't know whether our police department has any authority. Obviously, you're looking at DCR or Fish and Game rules and regulations, but I don't know whether our policemen have any authority to, you know, there's people who come, they're not supposed, all swimming is supposed to go off of the town beach. You know, they have no swimming signs all around the boat launch area and that, but, you know, you see people diving off next to the no swimming sign. And, oh yeah, I mean, that, you know, and I don't, you know, I don't bother anybody about that. What people wanna do, they wanna do.
mhm.
But DCR doesn't have, I mean, what are we looking at, a state budget that's got a $650 million shortfall. So I don't know if you're gonna see a lot of, policing from DCR.
Yeah.
I think the guy, enforcement officer for DCR said that they have 57 lakes and ponds to look after, and they have 6 people. So, but I think whatever the town could do to involve DCR more, and if the recreation had an interest in doing just the swimming lessons, that probably would be good for Hubbardston, but to take on, I think you'd be buying a nightmare.
Yeah, I
And,
agree.
something that would take a lot of, effort and people to monitor and do. DCR would probably be happy to.
Yeah, right.
A question in terms of the parking on one side of the road there, is that just for when the gate is not open?
Yes. Usually there's ample parking up there when the gate is open.
No, that's what I want to be clear about, because I was thinking that when you started mentioning various things and so forth, and the police, if that was something that was a continuous thing, then all of a sudden I think town police would have to be involved, and then I think you're talking about some monies in that sense.
Well, I think town police should be involved with the parking outside, because 68's our responsibility. So I think
But
that is.
that would have to be a paid detail then,
No, I mean,
practically.
if there's no parking signs there, all they gotta do is drive up there and look.
One thing that would, I don't know what the cost would be in doing it. If you were gonna shut down parking on one side, the rest is a big shoulder that goes down, and you could probably go in there with a grader and spread some material that would give them a bigger shoulder all the way down so that they could park on the gate side. That would be an improvement, so then they could get further off the road and that, but I don't know what that would involve in terms of town materials and labor.
Yeah, I know. I think once we start talking about the legalities of parking on that
You
road
might
in the
wanna
first
just-
place.
Yeah.
I don't wanna
Okay.
approve it so that they
So
can.
You could take a look at it.
Yeah, yep,
See what that means.
yep.
I was asking.
Will we go back to the permits?
I don't know, that's something we're gonna look into. If you want to.
Well, let's see what Sanda comes up with, and then
Okay.
we'll.
I told her it wasn't pressing, it's not something like.
But that's the right thing to do. Just somebody who's gonna be if someone's motivated to put forth the effort to come up with a plan, that's what it needs more than anything. So I guess take her temperature on it first.
Okay.
Who's responsible for the permits? Is it DCR or the town?
I-
I think we were before.
We were before.
Why did we drop that?
I don't remember. I just know it was back in the 2000, I wanna say 7 or 8. We just everybody was allowed to use it again.
Yeah, that's
You
I
didn't
guess
need
the
it.
last choice.
I've asked everybody. Nobody can remember.
Huh.
If the subject is gonna come up before the board, if you do the courtesy of letting me know that
Yeah.
you're gonna address it, so I've sort of been appointed by the Common Pond Association to be the point guard to follow it to whatever
Okay.
conclusion you come up with.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, next year, multi-board Quabbin Regional Task Force, Quabbin Regional School District, Board of Selectmen meeting is this Wednesday, the 13th at 6:30 in the Senior Center. I know initially we had said we were gonna write the letter and then have the meeting. I think that was kind of backwards. I think if you discuss everything and have items to put in the letter,
Okay.
and then we can go forward from there.
How's the attendance expected?
Everybody's willing to come. The only item is that the Barry Selectmen wanna have no interest in the no confidence vote.
Okay.
Everything else they're interested. So I just put on the agenda discussion for FY17 budget, and then communication with this.
Did they give a reason?
No, I just think they don't have any interest in it. There's only 2 of them. They've
Mhm.
got so many other things going on that I didn't even question it.
Is Dr. Marshall coming?
I don't know.
Was she
Okay.
invited?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, I figured it was only Board of Selectmen members.
Yeah. Well, it's just
So.
She'll be there.
I think so.
New vehicles, so Chief Current ordered his new administrative cruiser, and it was delivered on the 5th. Right now, it's out, getting it, the equipment installed into it, should be back on Wednesday. And then the other cruiser he'll be ordering in the next couple of months or so. The ambulance takes 220 days, so Bob is looking into different vendors right now, and then he'll decide which one, and then it will be about 220 days from that point.
So is that because it's a different type of
It's
ambulance?
custom built.
Custom built?
And so it takes that long I don't know why it would take that long,
Why
but
they-
it
That
does.
shouldn't be custom built.
It's not custom built, but I think they don't just have them sitting there like on a lot that you can just pick them up and purchase them. I think they build them once you order them.
Yeah, built to order.
So
Not
it takes
necessarily
that long.
custom, but-
Right, and so.
Probably has more to do with what you want inside of it than
That
anything
too.
else. as
So-
far as
It's probably not a whole
town
lot of ambulance lots.
Are there lots of options?
I've never built an ambulance, I don't know.
Neither has Bob, so we're all gonna find out, so.
Can I just make a comment? Ed, at town meeting, you had questioned about the cost of the police cruiser, the total cost, and I looked at the invoice, and it was, with the trade-in, it was right around 32, if I'm correct, 31?
The initial price was 32.
Went down to 22.
And then went down to a little over
Because of
21.
rebates, the trade-in,
Yeah.
and everything, it ended up being 22.
Yep, like 21 and change.
How many miles was on the cruiser?
The one we got,
No.
the one we sent out. I don't know.
The
how many
trade-in
was-
had 90,000 miles. It was a 2007.
Had 90,000 miles.
I know the one we got had 68 miles on
Oh, the new one.
it. Yes.
And the one we bought was new.
Yeah.
No. No.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's all right. And then finally, we have new office equipment thanks to Chief Perrin, Sergeant Forty, and DPW to take the time to build the new desks. We needed a lot of
Didn't take you long
patience.
to get some new office equipment.
Well, we were using folding tables, so I thought,
Yeah.
why not? And everyone is very happy, so.
Hmm.
Last one went in today.
Okay.
And that's it,
All right.
town administrator report.
Thank you.
We don't have any meeting minutes, and so it's just old business. If you have anything to discuss.
You guys got anything?
Okay.
Does the public or press have anything else they'd like to add?
When is the bridge open on,
Still waiting for that, aren't we? Still waiting for that?
They're
We're
waiting for some
hoping next week.
cowlings or something, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they came in. I've been copied, you I think as well, from
Mhm.
Premier Fence, who's working for NEL Corporation, who's the contractor, working for Mass DOT, who's working in Hubbardston. So there's like 4 tiers, and things are pretty busy right now. I don't necessarily think it actually took as long as they're saying it took, but I think we're slated for this week or next week, but that was the same thing last week. So we do know that they're actually in now. We're just waiting for Premier Fence to
Come out and install.
come
it.
out
The
and install.
guardrail? Is
What's
that what
that?
they're waiting on, the guardrail?
No,
The
yeah,
ending.
that's what it was.
Yeah, the
the endings,
buffers.
Yeah,
yeah.
the bumpers, yeah.
So, anyway, I actually talked to Tim about, should we really ratchet this up here? We're, as a board, we're not happy about this, making us look, all that sort of stuff. And then Tim came back to me and said, we can, but they paid for it all. This is for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's,
Right, don't ruffle
anyway,
too many feathers.
I've been thinking about how to,
there's no end dates for contracts.
it's done under a blanket contract. NEL Corporation has emergency and scheduled bridge repairs is what it's called in Region 5 or whatever we're in for Mass DOT. So when this sort of stuff comes up or they're just dispatched out, they have an annual contract. So there's none that I know of anyway that there's actually time frame on this. So
How big will the party be when they finally open? Are you
We
guys
can't
gonna-
tell.
You guys gonna cut a ribbon?
I think so. I guess I don't know. It sounds to me from talking to residents or a resident anyway, Bill Murray, he says 50-50 people who want it open again and 50-50 on who like it how it is.
I know a resident who lives very, very close to the bridge, and they said everyone's been using it. They get out, they move the stuff away, they drive, they put it back, and they go. So it's been used already many times.
Okay, so it works.
Oh, the other old business, we had talked about putting the sign back up.
Yeah, I just looked
Yeah.
at that.
I went and looked at the sign, it's in good shape.
That's what I was just saying to Ray.
It's in
Yeah, I
very
was
good
telling Pat,
shape.
if you wanna walk over after the meeting and check out that island of where
Yeah.
we can put it,
I can make
And I
some,
It looks like it
posts
just
and
needs
some
basically brackets,
yeah,
yeah.
to hold that. Cause it didn't sit very high off the ground originally anyways,
Mm-mm.
so.
We're gonna try to put the Hubbardston sign back up, Hubbardston Center School sign. It's been sitting there for, yeah, it's been sitting in the back for 3 years, 4
Yeah,
years.
since the
Please.
playground was done.
yeah.
Well, I think it was, when they did the parking lot,
It's the same.
when they moved the entrance,
Right.
or
Yeah.
added an
Yeah.
entrance, it came down.
So we can walk over after
Yeah,
if you
we'll
want to.
check it out.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah. Motion to adjourn at 7:11?
Second that,
Discussion? All in favor?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. We're done.